Welcome to our run of Monsterhearts by Avery Alder. As part of the Gauntlet Reading Club, we'll be drawing on Shannon McGuire's Every Heart a Doorway for inspiration. Before we go into things, I wanted to open with a quick round of introductions. I'm Steven, he, him. I'm the facilitator for the club and am GMing this round of Monsterhearts. If we want to go today by character keeper order, and we will open then with Grace and go right.
Hi, I'm Marley. My pronouns are she, her, and I will be playing Grace, the Fomorian.
Hi, I'm Kay. My pronouns are she, they, and I will be playing Bailey / Baron, he, him, are infernal.
And hi, I'm David, use he, him pronouns, and I will be playing Jason the Siren, also using he, him pronouns.
And as always, this game is hosted through the Gauntlet. The Gauntlet is an online gaming community mostly focusing on role-playing games of the indie and OSR varieties. Besides publishing a zine called The Codex, it also puts out several podcasts about role-playing games, and of course it organizes a gaming calendar, which this and many other games are organized through every month. The calendar is open to non-members, so feel free to jump on over there through the link below if you're interested in playing with any of the folks here tonight or any of the other people on the Gauntlet. All Gauntlet games make use of an open door policy. We are all here to have fun and tell a story together. If something happens in life or you become uncomfortable at the table, feel free to step away as long as you need. None will hold it against you, and you're free to return whenever you feel ready. If you're able to let the group know if and when you expect to return, that would be helpful for us in terms of framing scenes, but we understand that sometimes emergencies happen and it's not always possible. Besides the open door, we're also going to be making use of several other safety tools, including Lines and Veils, which is a living document that we take a look at again and revise as needed before play begins. The X card, which is, as always, if anything makes you uncomfortable at the table, feel free to raise your hands in an X sign, and we usually ask what it is you're X carding, but then we'll excise it from the fiction, no question asked. And finally, we are using script change, which is just a set of terms we use to help us talk about the fiction in a productive way. Pause, let's take a break, talk about what's going on. Fast forward, let's skip over kind of what we're talking about right now, maybe work out in broad strokes what's happening, and then move on to the next scene. And rewind, let's go back and kind of retcon something that happened before that we realize makes more sense in the fiction, that makes us more comfortable, that seems much cooler than what actually happened. And finally, step frame by frame, which is basically us agreeing we really want to do this scene, but we also realize that it might make some of us uncomfortable in ways that we don't like, but we still all agree that we really want to do it. And I want to clarify, it's the only time we'll use frame by frame. If somebody at the table says, no, I don't want to do the scene, we just won't do it. But it's basically us all agreeing that we're going to check in regularly and basically turn our safety tools up to max to make certain that everyone is still comfortable as the scene progresses. But cool. That kind of wraps us through our kind of opening spiel. So where we last left off was at the party. And I think that kind of where I want to open, and unless other people have other thoughts, is I wanted to actually kind of move us to the day after of that party, because I think that will let us kind of rearrange our characters into some more kind of interesting configurations that we haven't seen before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely open to that. I would like to maybe just make some decisions together about what might have happened after.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah. What were the things you had in mind?
Well, so after Jason finishes his last set, David, he and Bailey were going to hang out. I guess, did you have any things that you envisioned or how you thought that might go or things they might do? or what that dynamic might have been like?
I didn't have anything specifically in mind. No. I was just going to sort of see how it played out. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. How do you feel about just being like, okay, it went well, you know? Yeah, I think they hung out. I think they were comfortable with each other. If Jason was okay with it, Bailey would have asked him to accompany him on his evening walk. Yeah, and I think he would have been sticking very close to you and very agreeable in general. That's sort of, but that tends to be Bailey's personality in general.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. Yeah, I think Jason was quite impressed by the way Bailey stood up for himself, which is probably the first time I'd guess Jason's really seen Bailey do that, at least in a major way.
I would concur. Yeah, I think, yeah.
So I think that kind of, I think definitely got his attention. And yeah, he definitely is never going to say no to having someone following him around. That's always good. But yeah, no, that sounds good.
Cool. And to clarify, I think like the tickets, like that, because you also got those tickets. Those are something that like they're not like a one-time like tonight only sort of thing. Like
no, they're like just special seats for whenever, when we can find a particular show that interests you at this location.
Yeah. And I think kind of where I wanted to open things today was that I am curious because we talked about it a little bit. You said that was something you wanted to think about a little bit, Grace. What are you growing in this patch of like garden that you have that has kind of become the community garden here at the Open Door Academy?
So she is growing, since it's an outdoor garden, she actually is used to growing like indoor things like mushrooms and stuff like that. So I think it is mostly a vegetable garden. Things that she can sort of feel and get an idea for how well they're doing. Probably things like carrots and potatoes and some squash, maybe some tomatoes. I think she might be experimenting with tomatoes, but they're a little tricky. You have to tie them up and stuff like that, and not, if you're not particularly used to growing those kinds of vegetables, they can be kind of a pain.
Yeah, I think Bailey would have because I think Bailey's been helping you with the garden. I think it's something we talked about.
Yeah.
I think Bailey knows a little bit about gardening because that just seems like the kind of, I don't know if he gardened himself, but I feel like it's the kind of domestic thing that might have fit in a bit in the world he came from, like little bits. And he knows how to like stake a tomato.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll have like shown you that.
Okay.
I think that as you are kind of out today, kind of working in the garden, Grace, I think that you hear the kind of it's I think the like usual it's like the kind of very solid tread of Miss Compton, who is, as we know, the faculty advisor to the community garden. And
to clarify, it is either very overcast or it is night, or Grace would not be outdoors.
I
of her own
think
volition?
I think Bailey is. If we want to set it not during those times, Bailey would hold an umbrella over you,
Oh,
like a sun
that's kind
umbrella.
of awesome. Okay.
Sun
A
umbrella.
Yes.
parasol.
Yeah, he's holding a parasol for you.
Awesome. I love it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And I think that she comes up and like she kind of gives a little whistle looking over the garden, and she says, "Oh, Grace, it looks like I didn't know how much you'd be able to manage out here, but it looks like you've done quite a good job with this little patch of dirt."
Yeah. Most of these plants are familiar, but it turns out that they mostly work the same.
And so I wanted to clarify, because we said that Miss Compton was not a like traveler. She didn't go through a door. Is she like aware of like the doors, or is she like one of the faculty that's just completely not in the know?
So do we have faculty who are completely not in the know? Is that reasonable in this scenario?
I feel like the faculty would be in the know, or at least I guess maybe that's my thought, because I feel like
Okay.
having faculty that are not in the know seems dangerous.
Mhm.
Cool. Okay, yeah.
Although I guess it's possible that not all of the faculty believe it might be the. But yeah, I can't see the school employing people that were completely.
Yeah. No.
Well, I mean, yeah, again, given the books, I probably can, because they seem to not really be very good at what they do. But
Yeah. So yeah, I think she says, "Well, yeah, I'm glad to see you kind of making something here, Grace. I know it can be, well, not personally, but from students, I know it can be difficult to find something to care about here. But I'm glad that you have this garden." And I think she kind of gives, you definitely hear it. She gives a kind of awkward sigh, like there's a butt coming in here.
I will say this entire time, Bailey is pouting because she has not acknowledged him, has not acknowledged how he's been helping, how good of a job he's done. Like he's just pouts, pout, 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 pout. There's praise being handed out, and none of it's for him.
But in spite of all that, you're going to take it away anyway, aren't you?
I'm not going to take it away, but look, I've gotten some very concerning things. Some students have approached me that you attacked another student when they had asked about making changes to the garden.
Which is a really funny way of saying that Luz tried to grab something out of my hands and I slapped her hand away.
Look, what I
you look. I am not going to stand here defenseless while someone puts their hands on me, and that's just how it is.
Not to interrupt, but Grace is right, ma'am. They put their hands on her first, and they weren't also asking to help or to take part. They simply wanted to give directions and orders, and Grace isn't made to take orders.
That is the truth.
And he like says, and he's holding a parasol above Grace in this moment to keep the sun off her.
Oh, yeah. I think that look, Grace. I understand all that, Grace, but at least according to what.
No, see, if there's a butt coming, you don't really understand. There is
I've
plenty
had
of
several
dirt.
other students that
Luz
say
can
you
have
grabbed
her own
Luz,
dirt wherever
you
she
grabbed
wants.
Luz by her hair and shoved her away.
I'm sorry, what?
I think if you gave us a chance to get other people, they would tell you a different story other than Luz. I think, if we spoke to Jason and Lee and maybe even Micah or a couple of the others who were in the vicinity and saw, but aren't Luz's followers, Luz's pets, then they might give you more honest answers. Because they can't help, they follow Luz, and when you follow someone, you do what they say.
Look, I know things can be cliquish here at school, and I'm trying to do my best here to make certain that that everyone here is treated fairly. So the faculty and I are going to be looking into this, and we just think that for maybe just the next few days, Grace, if you could that I'll take over handling the garden, and maybe once everyone has some distance, we can handle things we can handle things more clearly.
Such bullshit. You know what I'm learning right now? What I am learning is that you are going to punish me no matter what I do or what the truth
I think
is.
you can.
So
I think you can hear her. I think you can
want.
hear her like furling her brow and like putting one hand to her brow in the in the like this is going to be a headache gesture.
It is.
I want to like.
Seriously, if someone tried to take away your garden, how would you react? You'd be pissed.
I would be, Grace, but I'm also a teacher at this school, and it would not be responsible of me to simply ignore what Luz's friends are saying because uh because of because I because of my relationship to this club as its advisor.
So that's going to be the entirety, or will you also be looking into Luz, whatever, however you say her damn name, Lulz, putting her hands on me?
I'll be looking into that, Grace. Yes.
Neat.
But look, like I said, I can take care of the garden for the next few days, and we can just treat this as a bit of a break.
Break my ass. Bailey, come on.
Yeah.
And Grace just sort of drops her stuff and like starts charging back into the school.
Bailey like quickly looks back at the teacher, little pout, little sad eyes, and then quickly follows after because he's trying to keep the parasol up to make sure the sun doesn't get on Grace.
The nerve! The hell?
Ellie.
Why does Lulz win? She just sucks. She sucks so much.
She really is quite unagreeable. And she doesn't have the proper demeanor for either set either. I don't think she would be a good leader or a good master. And so I really think that there's just no place for her. And it would be better if she was just like gone.
I agree. I think she's terrible. Why can't she just find her door and be out of her hair? I just want her gone. Oh my God.
Probably because they didn't want her either. She's this disagreeable.
That's the truth. That's the truth.
And like you see his smile like arch, and Grace is like you agree with him, and you're like, ah yes, the truth. Like he's like, ah yes, I'm giving her what she wants. This is good.
Okay.
I'm
She
pleased.
totally doesn't see him smile, but anyway,
Yeah.
yes. Okay. You, my friend, have earned a cookie. Come on. I'll show you my secret project. And she takes him into the school and into the basement. And it's starting to get creepy and dark, which Bailey will know this, and Grace mostly doesn't care about. And they will come to this door. She says, and she's like been trying to sort of calm herself down, and she's like, okay, did anyone follow us? That's like one of those things I really have trouble figuring out.
No.
Okay.
Bailey would have been keeping an eye out for things like that. So he does not believe that anyone followed them. But then again, maybe he was so distracted following you and making sure to keep his eyes on what you might have needed or perceived that he might have missed it. Who knows?
Okay. Okay. For the first part, you're going to need to hold your breath.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Hold your breath. 1, 2, 3, go. And she opens the door, and this terrible sewage smell comes out. And it's an old bathroom with a backed up toilet, and it is the most disgusting thing that you've ever experienced.
Oh, Bailey retches. He's got a decently heightened sense of smell, as all good pets should. And
yeah. Power through, almost there. And Grace will take them to another door in the back. Does a couple of things to the hinges, and then opens that door, pushes him through, and slams it behind them. And it is much better in that door, in that room.
Do you want me to clean the other room?
No, because that is a deterrent. This is the real garden.
Fences.
And you're probably going to need a light switch or something like that. I don't know if there's a light switch in here. Maybe there's your phone probably has light on it, right?
Bailey will we'll take out his phone and put the flashlight on. Okay.
And what Bailey will see when he looks around is Grace's real garden. It has like some mushrooms and some moss and some lichens, and a lot of it looks really kind of weird. Mm-hmm. And she will say, the one thing I was able to take with me when I was kicked out is I had some seeds in my pocket. So this is the important garden. This is the one we can't let them take. It sucks that they want the other one, but tomatoes we can always regrow. This stuff, if it's gone, there's no way to get it back.
As you've been growing it, have you been reharvesting the seeds so that you can have more? Should it get taken?
Trying to. There's not a lot. We haven't really gotten to the point in the season where they've started to go to seed. At the moment, it's all very fragile.
Okay.
What catches Bailey's eye in this garden?
I think there's a strange moss that somehow, he doesn't know how, is the exact same eye color as his master back at home. And it's a color he hasn't seen often in nature or like replicated much in general. And that's sort of like takes his breath a bit and probably creates a bit of a pit of yearning in him.
Enough that you want to reach out and touch it?
Oh. think I have to keep my cool to not do it.
Okay. Yes, let's go ahead. Let's first roll of the day. Let's see how this goes.
Remind me, are we doing a dice roller or using?
Yes, if you go over to safety, I can pop it in again.
Okay, perfect. There it is. Do, 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 do. Because I think he knows, as a good boy, he should not ask without asking. But at the same time, if this reminds him so much of his master, he may not be able to help himself. That is a 7.
Yeah, it's a 7, but I think that there's a little voice that whispers in your head. That's very beautiful, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Makes me think of you.
Race won't notice if you just reach right out now and feel it. And I'm spending one of the strings that your master has on you to subtract 2 from this roll.
Oh, spicy. Yeah, no. So I fail the roll. And yeah, he reaches out and just like very lovingly with like the back of his hand sort of caresses this bit of moss.
Yeah. And I think every piece of the moss that your fingertips touch, you can see it turn blackened and gray. Like, not the whole garden or all the moss, but the parts you touch.
Oh, a couple tears form in Bailey's eyes. And just like in his head, he's like, I hurt you. Oh, does he just
Great.
get silence?
I think has no way of knowing that this is going on and is bustling about her garden a little bit. She's probably actually talking a lot because this is not something she has gotten to share with anyone before.
Mm-hmm.
And talking about different things and be careful, some of these are really poisonous and blah blah blah. Yeah, those are hallucinogenic, but yeah, never mind. And
Yep.
she like has a little water bottle and she's like misting things and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I think you hear that say back to you, because I didn't realize that was addressed to your master. I thought that was to Grace. I think you hear, you didn't hurt me, Bailey. You helped me. And I think maybe that's where we fade on this scene, so that we can zoom to some of these other characters. And so, to kind of catch you up here, Sabine, we're kind of moving ahead to the next day. And I'm wondering, Sabine, you kind of still have this condition traumatized.
I have the condition yearning, which is not
yearning,
quite.
right? Yes, it's different. I forgot. Right, we have a different condition because we have this hacked version of the ghost. I'm wondering, like, you seem to be pretty like. Jason's music seemed to have a pretty calming effect on you the last time.
That's what actually caused the condition. But it still helped me with
yeah. Afterwards,
sometimes if you're yearning,
the condition happened. I meant
if you're yearning for stuff, you don't want to get rid of that feeling, right? Even though it hurts, it's still like you still like to listen to the music that makes you remember the good times, because that's all that's left, the memory.
Yeah. Do you think that Lay would stop in at Jason then?
Maybe like hanging around, because that is Lee's thing. They are not very forward. They might hang around and near Jason and just see if he makes any kind of music, or if they can talk to someone, into talking to Jason, because Jason, they are Jason's biggest fan, and that you that can't just go and talk to your idol, can you? Wow, no. I mean, that would be a weird thing. I'm hanging around though, and seeing if there's anything I can do for Jason. So maybe he might not exactly notice me, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm a teenager. I don't know what I want. I want Jason to notice me, and I want Jason not to notice me, and I want to go home. That's basically what I want. Yeah. So I'm moping around where Jason is, and stop a lot. What was her name? Luz from sitting on me, or maybe not. Maybe she sits on me, and then I'm apologizing for some reason.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm curious that I want to check in here. Where do we like who's Jason, like who does Jason like hang with around campus when he's not in class? Or is he someone that stands off and is a loner as well?
Yeah, so I think he's social in the sense he likes people around him, and he's sort of he's friendly. I think I'm just checking through. I don't think he has like anyone who's like a particularly like close friend to him, but I think he has quite a lot of people with whom he will hang out, sort of thing. I think I'm just trying to remind myself of the NPCs we have.
Is it maybe with some of the people that we've established sit near you? Is it maybe
Yeah,
Cordelia or
I'm wondering if maybe he's hanging out with Cordelia. I think maybe they're just sort of idly chatting, nothing deep, nothing or that involved. But I think they're gossiping about classmates and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and I think Cordelia is saying like, well, Maria still is not leaving our room. And I think we'll just say Cordelia and Maria are roommates because they're both from partially nonsense worlds at least. Like it's so very funny considering that she's not even in it.
Are you saying that she's both in and not in her room at the same time?
Oh, well, you know how it is. You have to be in your room before you can leave it. And well, the last time I saw her, she was in her room and then she was just gone.
You don't think she went back, do you?
Well, I suppose that's always the case, but she was ever so frightful and frightened of going out. I don't know if she'd even be too frightened to like go through her door. And she leans in and says, "You don't suppose I murdered her, do you? I do have those blackouts like with Micah, and I have checked all the places I would hide her body, but I haven't found it."
I mean, let's hope not for both your sakes, I suppose. out of interest, where have you looked for her?
Oh, well, I did have to go. I did decide that because I did decide, well, let's see. I have yeah, I've searched all the last places I would look for her, but alas, she was not in any of them. Sorry, I'm trying to play up nonsense here, so it takes a little work.
Yeah, no worries. No, that is great. Well, that's
You don't suppose she'd be in one of the first places to look? That would be very disappointing.
I mean, surely if she was, you'd have found her by now.
Well, I didn't look in any of those places because they're never there.
No, that won't help. Right. Well, that's I'll ask around and see if anyone else has seen her about even if she is not where you weren't expecting her to be. Maybe someone's seen her somewhere else.
And I think that at that moment, she specifically turns and looks at you, Lee. And she says, "Oh, Lee, you're here. Well, I decided to look for once in the first place I would look, and I didn't find Maria, but I did find you."
Yes, I heard you, actually. I was here for a while now. I have not seen Maria, but I think on Thursdays at least, she should be somewhere where it's green. She once told me that that was a necessary thing, that you be somewhere where it's green on Thursdays. It is Thursday, right?
Oh, I suppose. And she looks at you. It's what? 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 Why have you? What brought you to our little conversation, though, Lee? I didn't hear you talking, and usually I can hear people when they talk.
I didn't say anything. I just was sitting over there, and then Luz sat on me, and then I moved over to here because I think she wasn't entirely clear about whether she should apologize or whether I should apologize. I just went away while she was talking. I think she forgot about it. Sometimes it irritates me when people do this, but not always. So.
Oh yes, it was. It is. It's all very dramatic. What happened the other day, wasn't it? It's also very hazy. But well, after like Luce had a little talk with me, and I seem to recall that. Well, there was that whole thing with Grace just grabbing her by the hair and punching her a few times, wasn't it?
What? No. Luz grabbed Grace's phone, and Grace yelled at her a bit, but she never punched her.
No, I seem to recall that Grace went over to her table.
No, that is not what happened. That is not what I recall, at least. Jason, you were there, weren't you? I don't know. Maybe my memory is foggy.
I think so. I mean, Luce and Grace are always getting into it.
Yeah, but that's because Luce is a nuisance, and Grace doesn't take shit from people.
She certainly doesn't.
I think. Yeah, well. Anyway, this Maria thing, should we go look for her somewhere where it's green? There's a room that has green walls.
Well, I suppose that we could look there. It is one of the first places I would have looked, but
She does tend to follow her rules quite. Yeah, well, I think she wants to go back. Kind of.
oh, very well. I suppose we can look there. What is this room that is all green that we are headed to?
I think it is a room that is specifically there to be all green. Someone painted it, probably someone from a nonsense world. There are several green things in it that don't have anything in common besides being green. Very mixed and mismatched, furniture that someone has painted or spray painted or something green. It's a very green room. It's I think it's near the library. There are other rooms that are yellow and blue. No red rooms though, or maybe we haven't found it yet.
Mm-hmm. I never understood why someone would want a room green. I mean, surely a nicer color may be melodic or B flat.
I'm looking to Jason like, what do you...
The only green rooms I've really been in are more metaphorical.
As you come into this room all green, I think that there are almost arrayed along one wall a kind of like it is a conspiracy board, bits of paper that have all been colored in green, like drawings from various children's books.
The gaze onto the abyss role is kind of the investigate role, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, there's that. But I think that like this is what you get without gazing to the abyss because it's just there. I realize that you can use gaze into the abyss for stuff like that. But I viewed it as more like you're specifically connecting to like the dark forces of the world, whereas this is just like looking to see what's there. But I think there is like a kind of like a collection of drawings of various cats from children's books, the Cheshire Cat, Tigger, Aslan, and they're all connected together by bits of green yarn. And someone has drawn with, you can't immediately see it, but there is drawn onto the wall in green crayon a line that says, "Beware the calico cat."
Well, Maria has said on multiple occasions that calico cats predict catastrophes. So I don't know what kind of catastrophe we're meant to be aware of.
And I don't think I've seen any cats, calico or otherwise, around here recently.
I've seen a grey one, but that might have been just a bit of mist. Probably just imagined it. Sorry.
But I suppose if Maria was as worried as all this, seems to imply then maybe she has tried to hide herself somewhere.
Maybe she wrote down something somewhere about the rules that need to be followed. So I think she would have to, if she wanted to hide herself, there would be a protocol for it. I think. I figure, right? The way Maria acts, she always has a yes, and if this needs to happen, then I need to do that. Right?
Yeah. And I think that as you're talking, there is like, I think it's almost that like the door that we left open behind you kind of in that uncertain, uneasy way slams shut behind you. Like it might have just been a breeze or the settling of the door of a heavy door back into its frame. But I think all of these drawings pinned to the wall kind of come fluttering down around your feet. And it's almost like all their eyes stare up back up at the three of you.
Well, that's a bit ominous.
Yeah, I'd like to think it's just coincidence, and I think Jason's just going to kind of look around.
Is this you like kind of gazing into the abyss here?
Yeah, go on. Let's see. Let's see what.
What does it look like? Like, because you said you look around, but gazing into the abyss is sort of tapping into that thing that makes you monstrous.
Yeah, so I think this is more perhaps having spent the time that he has in the amongst the Pantheon. I think that Jason is like specifically looking for omens. So yeah, we'll be kind of looking for like signs of what might be going on just in the environment around him, rather than more so than just like looking and seeing what's there. It's more like looking and seeing what leaps out at him as being portentous.
Cool. Give me a roll here with dark then.
Cool. And I think oops, that's wrong books. I think the just to be specific on it, and I think what Jason is looking for here is either signs of Maria or the catastrophe that she predicted, kind of thing.
It's a 9.
Awesome.
Yeah, so as always on a 9, the abyss shows you a confusing and alarming visions, but you get your answer nonetheless. As you are looking down over these pictures, your eye catches that were they there before in these drawings? In the background of each one, you see a little door, always closed. And I think as you look up, almost like we're watching a video replay of the events, that door behind you, the entrance, slams closed again, even though it was already closed. And then we see you looking up again, and the door behind you slams shut again. And I think that's when you hear that there is a scrabbling, clawing from the other side. And I think that that's sort of what you are picking up here, that the Calico Cat wants an open door, but you almost get the feeling that all doors are closed to it.
Yeah, and I think Jason will go like a little pale at the sound of the scratching at the doorway. And say, we should probably leave here. But he's going to walk sort of over towards like the window and open that up, but probably not through the door.
You think we should leave through the window, not the door?
Yeah, certainly not at the minute. I don't think we want to let that in.
There's some. Okay.
I think the cat's outside.
I think at that point, as you say that, the door swings back open and there's nothing there.
Damn. I wanted to go look.
Oh no, it's okay. You can go look if you want.
I mean, if the door swings open, it's pointless. So. It's fine. I was just stepping over to. I can maybe look, and then the door swings open, and please let me. Oh, okay.
I think you find laying on the ground are hairs in purple and green.
Oh, look, I found something. Are these Maria's hairs?
Oh, well. No, I sure, I think yeah, if you want, that is exactly what they are.
Okay. I found something. Look, I think.
Oh, go ahead.
I think they're Maria's. Cordelia, they're Maria's, right?
And I think Cordelia looks and says, "They are." Well, at least we know she's running around with her head.
And I think Jason's going to slam the window closed again slightly more aggressively than necessary and say, well, I guess she's just having a bit of fun with us then.
And I think that's where we fade out there. Maybe where we open up next is in the like a cafeteria scene. I feel like that's a good place to kind of give people an opportunity to interact with folks, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And I think that as we kind of transition over to this cafeteria scene, I'm curious because in the books that we're kind of using as inspiration, like people's diets can be very eccentric and particular. I'm curious what each of you are like picking up as you are getting food here today. If we want to go maybe reverse character keeper order this time, start with Jason.
Yeah, I think Jason I think it's probably fair to say he is not impressed by the fare that is on offer at school. He does eat, but very much does so with a kind of an air of resignation. I guess that's probably the best way of putting it. He will, he will kind of, tend to eat like a lot of salads and some meat and some bread and that sort of thing. But yes, he does always has has a few has like a little bunch of grapes on the side. But yeah, is not is not not really satisfied by food here. It's somewhat lacking in flavor and general taste as far as he is concerned. And I think today in particular he is grumbling even more than usual about the food because he's still kind of embarrassed.
And what about Bailey? What does Bailey eat?
Oh man. So I think Bailey tends to have a hard time around meals because he's not used to picking for himself. And he's used to being hand fed. But almost in like a totally different like juxtaposition dichotomy kind of way from like Jason being fed peeled grapes. Like it's sort of a thing.
No, this is like the like, see, here you go, see, there's some food in my hand and now the rest of the food is here in your bowl.
Yeah, that, and also just like sort of I will decide what you get, how you get it, when you get it, like sort of a thing. And so I think depending on who he's either cajoled or is willing to sort of abide by that, he'll usually let them pick. Obviously things that are more easy for that are nicer. So again, grapes does come to mind, or bits of fruit, like more cut up, wrapped sort of things, like little cubes of nicer cheeses, or like cut pieces of steak, or like prosciutto, or something that is more handable per se, tend to be things that he gets. But I think there maybe have been occasions where he's been forced to like attempt to sit in a chair and cut his own food, and they have not necessarily ended well. And sometimes maybe they actually go really well. But he also is pretty apt at like, people will ask him to get them things and he'll go get them. Like he's very quick to go fetch something for someone else or do that, like, follow that order. That's great. But there's definitely been moments where he's been standing with a plate in his hand in front of the food for like 20 or 30 minutes in front of like the buffet area, just looking so lost.
Does anyone out of curiosity, come to Bailey's aid here?
So as it turns out, Grace actually can't do buffets. So we've actually talked about it during character creation. That Bailey probably brings her food.
Yeah, Bailey will bring her food. Bailey will do that. Like that is something he will certainly do, and then he'll end up probably with his own plate and staring at the table.
Okay.
I think
Grace would return the favor and like help him if for some reason that was a thing for him, but she would not necessarily know he was having a problem unless someone made it clear to her.
I think if Lee sees Bailey standing there like totally undecided, they might just go up and try to have a conversation like, look, the potato mash is particularly nice today. Don't you want to have that maybe? I can recommend it.
Oh, hey, Lee. That could be a good idea, yeah. And he'll like spoon some onto his plate, but like you see, he frowns a little, and he sort of takes a bit of a step away because he wants to talk to you, but he knows he shouldn't. And it's like there's definitely some like slight tension in the air there. Those are sort of hard to though sometimes, unless you're using like a utensil. And he's already put them on his plate because you've said it, but he then says that after.
Don't you? You should use a spoon. That makes it easier.
Are you going to listen to Lee, Bailey? I didn't want to say this, but your appetites disgust me. I think you should put that back and take something lighter.
I think he straight up drops the plate. Like, not supposed to have this. No.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, like I don't think he says not supposed to have this no out loud. Sorry. That's like
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he drops the plate and he's like, I'm sorry, Lee. I need to sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry if you don't even like that, but
he doesn't even let her he feels like such an asshole. He doesn't even let her finish as he's like, oh sorry, doesn't even let them finish as he like has dropped this plate onto the ground where it probably I don't know if it clattered or just broke, and sort of goes towards the other side where there's maybe like a salad bar or something else, like cut up vegetables.
Okay, that's that then. At least you didn't ignore me.
I mean, I'm curious, is there anything in Bailey's demeanor that, like, beyond the obvious that like gives a hint of the strangeness here?
Oh yeah. So I think he's taken a new plate and his hands are shaking. Like it's quite clear his hands are shaking. The hand that doesn't have the plate as he's trying to like look at these vegetables and fruits or whatever is like tugging at the collar he wears, almost like not even like tugging it like to pull it away, but almost pressing it in kind of closer. And there's maybe under his voice, if someone gets close, there's a lot of mumble like, I'm sorry, I'll do better. I know I wasn't good, but I can be good, I promise. Just give me a chance. If you just tell me, I'll get what you want. If you just tell me, just please tell me.
I'm curious, does any of that concern Lee, out of curiosity?
It does, yes, because clearly Bailey has some emotions that trouble him, and he doesn't know how to lose them, how to get rid of them. But they don't feel like Bailey would take advice from them on how to drop emotions, and they don't really know how to do that anyway. They just know what to do with the emotions once they are dropped. And anyway, they're not in the Carnival of Sorrows, so maybe they don't know anything, right? Potato mash is all stupid. Lee takes a tea. And that's it. Everything's stupid.
Oh. But yeah, I think so. I think yeah, as like, so Bailey, I mean, you are there getting food for Grace, right? So you are presumably going to be sitting near her.
Well, I think he would have just gotten her food, like before he even did this situation. I think he would have gotten his food and presented it to her. Whether he sits with her, I think sometimes he does. I think it also depends on her mood, because sometimes he feels uncomfortable asking her like what he might need if she's already having a bad day and dealing with stuff. And also sometimes it's a little difficult because for her to know how to like hand feed him because she can't see him. Or like offer him things at times. So it depends on how hard of a day he's having. There are certain days where things are a little easier and maybe he can grab off of a plate but just not sit by it. But then there are days, and I feel like today might be one of those days where like he's already in like not the greatest headspace, and feels like he's been wrong. And so he may not want to burden Grace with that. So I don't think he knows where to go and sit.
Oh man. Yeah, I guess like,
Grace, on the other hand, is always a little disappointed on days that Bailey doesn't sit with her.
oh,
But she doesn't want to make a thing of it. He's already helping her out so much.
I think your gaze catches on sitting alone at a table, because she is someone that intimidates people is Helen. And there's a little part of you that that voice that says she's someone very important here, Bailey. She is the person in charge.
And yeah, I think Bailey's managed to like hastily put some grapes on his own plate and some like little cheese like square cubes that like have little toothpicks in them and like prosciutto and the like, and little like vegetables like grape tomatoes and things like that that can sort of be easily done without that much mess. Maybe a couple of like easy biscuits or things like that. And the voice tells him that, and I think he's scared to do it because he knows Helena isn't his biggest fan, but he's gonna start shakily making his way towards her.
Cool. And where does Jason go to sit during lunch?
I feel like Jason probably doesn't have a sort of set table that he sits at. He just tends to like pick one and sit there. But I think also he tends to pick tables where there isn't anyone sat already, and that people come to him. But yeah, and I think he has done likewise today. But yeah, he's definitely got like his he's very much doing that stooges thing of like not making eye contact with anyone, and is just sort of like very mechanically eating, not quite with his head down, but he's sort of he's still, like I said, still kind of embarrassed and annoyed with himself.
Cool. And where is Lee continuing the process of sitting near Jason but not talking to but not with Jason?
I think so, yeah. Especially right now, Jason also has a lot of emotions, and they can't help. That's also kind of well, it's exhausting. I think they don't know where to sit. They will sit somewhere where there's somebody, maybe a clique or something. They are that aren't emotionally overwhelmed by their problems, which is hard to do if they're teenagers. So I think they will end up near Grace, because Grace seems to have a good handle on. I mean, she's angry all the time, but that's not really a bad emotion, because she's angry at the right things. At least Lee thinks that she's angry at the right things. So they'll just go and sit near Grace and not say anything, of course, but sip the tea and be a little mopey, because Bailey's mean. And also it has a load of emotional problems, and they can help them, and that's also a thing. And Jason has emotional problems, and they can't help them either, and that's even more of a thing.
Is Lay just saying all this immediately on sitting next to Grace?
No, they know that Grace can hear them, but they might mumble into their tea when they see Bailey walking around, like something like, I wish I could help him, and I wish I could help him, and I wish I could help her, and I can't. And if I were at home, I could. That sucks. And this tea is also boring, and I need salt.
The tea needs salt? What?
Yeah, the tea. Oh, sorry, Grace. I didn't mean to bother you. Yeah, the tea needs salt. Most of the stuff they serve us does not have enough salt in it.
I never thought of putting salt in tea.
Hmm?
I don't really drink tea, so, to each their own. Who are we helping or not helping, and why are we doing that?
it's not something you can do. Some people have emotions, and then these emotions are hurting them, but they can't let them out. And if we were in the Carnival of Sorrows, where I would like to be, they would know how to deal with that, how to get rid of that, and then I could do something about them, turn them into something beautiful. But here, they just hurt themselves, and maybe I'm doing the same. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
Mhm.
I wonder sometimes how much we can bring through the doors. Like, you brought some of your abilities.
Yeah. Yeah, didn't you?
I didn't really have special abilities when I was there.
Oh, yeah, it was the world that was better suited to you, right?
Right. Yeah. It was the world for me. It's nice that you try and help other people here, though. Sometimes I get really focused on just wanting to get back. It's like, why bother making friends with people and things if I'm just going to leave them the first chance I get?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's not bad. Like, all of us should be doing that. All of us want to leave and go back where we belong. And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I mean, but friends would keep us back here, and I don't want to be kept back, so maybe I should stop that.
Well, you could just yell at people all the time like I do.
They don't notice with me.
Oh. Maybe you're not yelling right.
Hmm?
Maybe you're not yelling right. I don't think I've ever heard you yell.
I don't like yelling. I'm
Oh.
not a yelling person.
I mean, you could be a yelling person. If you don't want to
No.
be a yelling person, that's a different thing. I'm just saying, if you wanted to yell, actually, like, if people can't hear you yell, that is more convenient because a lot of people get upset by yelling.
Yes, but I am not. And let me be clear here. I do not want to yell at people. I do not like yelling at people. Yelling at people makes me feel weird and guilty, and I don't want to do it.
Okay.
And please don't tell me to yell at people. This is not something I am. It's not something who I am. So
Okay.
get off my back, please, with this. I feel that it's good if you like yelling at people. You are very good at yelling at people. And I like that about you, but I'm not like that. Yeah, should I shut her down?
Yeah, I mean, this does sound like maybe it could be a shutdown.
Yeah, okay. And I'm rolling with cold, which I think I'm not too bad at, and I need to find the right thingy. Where's my character? There you are. I am very cold.
Yeah.
I mean,
You tend to be.
Hmm?
The ghosts are very cold.
Mm-hmm. It's a 9. So that means I get to choose, right? I come across poorly, and you give me a conditional return, and also do you have a string on me?
No, I have strings on everybody, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. Okay. So Grace, do you want to take the condition angry?
Oh, Grace always wants to take the condition angry.
I
I feel
know.
like that is a permanent part of her psyche. Sure.
Right. Yeah, and you give me a condition, and I come across poorly. I have to take a condition as well, besides yearning. What would that be? Because I think it's like, Like maybe cowardly or something?
Oh, cowardly was good. I was thinking sort of ungrateful, but I like cowardly better.
Yeah.
How do you think this is, because this is a shutdown? So like Grace, you actually feel a little like this is actually like, be like kind of brushing you off a little bit, Grace. How does Grace respond to this?
Jesus Christ, Lee, I was just asking.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like I can force you to do anything.
I don't know. I would like to be allowed to be me, that's all. It's not that hard.
I'm not
But I'm
saying you can't
sorry.
be you, but like sometimes if you want to be loud, you can be loud. I'm just saying. But if you don't want to, that's fine too.
I don't want to. Always I don't like making scenes.
Okay, fine.
I think though that it's just as you're saying that like a fair number of people in the surrounding tables are kind of looking at you because of Grace.
Oh, they're probably feels odd.
You're breaking up. What were you saying?
Oh, they're looking at you.
I mean, are you comfortable with this, Lee? Is this like people are looking at you finally, but it's as a spectacle?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm really not. I think I will stand up and say, see, this, if I were a yelling person, I would yell at them to stop staring. But because I'm me, I'm just leaving.
There's definitely one or two people that go, "Ooh," as you walk away, and a little chuckling.
Yeah, I start running. Yeah, I start running when they start catcalling.
And you know what I'm going to ask for here? A runaway, because you specifically said it.
Okay.
And then I think we'll. Oh, go ahead.
It's volatile. Okay.
Yes.
That's not one of my good stats. It's a 5.
Oh yeah.
I get an XP.
Yep. And I think we will see what happens there. I think the doors, like we see you running through the cafeteria doors, and I imagine that these are like those kinds of like swinging doors that are like on springs, so they're kind of going whoop 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 as they like flutter back to close behind you. And kind of jumping over to Bailey. Bailey, you said you were sitting down with Helen.
Well, so he was approaching Helen's
okay.
table.
You were just approaching?
He was going over to her table to ask her if she would help him out and would let him sit there.
She looks at you and gives a kind of a little bit of an eye roll and says, "Yes, Bailey, you can sit here. You don't need my permission."
So it's not just sitting. I'm having a really hard day today. And I think he's put like the plate on the table next to hers. And like he's like fiddling with the collar, like pressing it. Sorry, this is a bad. I shouldn't. You're not gonna. You already think I'm weird. I can't be by myself.
And that is an in-character sigh. What do you mean by that?
So like, and I think he'll like push oh god, he's turning kind of red, and he'll push the chair next to hers away so that he can kneel next to her chair.
Oh, yeah, you know what? I'm going to ask you to roll to turn someone on here.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you want to? Because I should remind you,
Yeah.
there is the Fey move Shameless, which feels like might apply here.
Yeah, you know what? I will throw a string to my dark power to use Shameless and get that bonus. I will borrow that move from the Fae.
Or Unashamed, that's it.
Yeah, Unashamed. Yeah, I'll borrow that move from the Fae to use Unashamed. And oh god, but I can't use Unashamed. I would actually love to use Unashamed, but it's not in character. I can't use it. He's so shamed right now. He's turning red. He can't speak.
Yeah, but like Unashamed, the way I see it is if you're willing to like make a kind of like scene and embarrass yourself, you're giving like a string to them.
Okay,
Like
yeah.
that's what I kind of saw as like the you like full on going like let me kneel down to be fed by you in public.
Okay, yeah. Then you know what? I'll give my dark power string so that I can attempt to do this, and I will offer them a string on me, and I get to add 3, so that is a +4. And that is a 13.
Okay, so you get a string on Helen.
I get a second string on Helen.
Yeah. And let me just kind of mark these down so I remind before I forget. Helen kind of gives a blush and then she says, "Fine, I guess that would be fine." And there's definitely like a continued blushing on her part, but the way she does it is there's a like she does it like someone who actually is very practiced in this kind of like like procedure, I guess.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and I think Bailey feels really comforted by that and ends up sort of pillowing his head on her lap, like moving it a little closer and like even smiling some. Like some of the like before he was so embarrassed he like couldn't even, and now he looks a little more comfortable. Leaning his head against her lap and just sitting there and listening.
mm-hmm. I think that voice then says from in your head, and I'm spending a string here to tempt you. It's very nice, isn't it, Bailey? So comforting, isn't it?
Yeah, feels right. Not as right as you. No one's ever as right as you.
Mm-hmm. Nothing ever will, Bailey. So ask her. Ask her why you're here.
Helen, why am I here?
I think she is like actually like started to pet you almost a little bit, and then her hand freezes in your hair. And you hear her say, "You don't remember?"
Should I?
She sighs. I killed your master, Bailey. I set you free.
Oh my god. I think Bailey like wrenches himself away. And I think he can't help it. I think he like a scream, like a blood, like as if he'd been stabbed. I'm not going to do that because I respect your ears.
Okay.
But like it sounds like someone has stabbed him as she declares that and he's like, no, you're lying. No one could do that. You couldn't. It was so nice. Why would you do this, Helen? Why would you do this? Why would you do this, Helen? No.
She looks at you and says, not everyone that went to that world got to be a pet, Bailey. They looked in me and they decided I should be a master. I didn't want that, so I had to do something they wouldn't forgive.
You took him from me. And oh my god. I think Bailey's gonna throw himself at her. Like,
oh, are you using violence?
Yeah, he's using violence. Yeah. Oh my god. This is not something I expected. Yeah. And I've got a string. So I'm gonna use that to negate my I think I have a -1.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to use my first string to negate that -1, and I'm going to attack her. And I still fail. It's a 4. It's a 4. He's too upset. He's like he's not used to being violent, but he like is trying to like launch himself at her. She probably knows how to maybe hold him. I don't know. But he's screaming.
I think that she kind of just reaches out and grabs you by the neck. And it's almost like that grip. It's like when your master held you tenderly down to teach you. And she just wrenches you down. And could you mark 1 harm for me?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think he sort of goes.
Actually, no, I don't think she's gonna harm you here. That she doesn't want to harm you. I think that she will pull you down and she will give you the condition chastened.
Okay.
And she says, I don't want to hurt you, Bailey. I'm telling you this because you deserve the truth. But don't come at me again.
Why you took him from me? You took everything from me.
I'm sorry you see it that way, Bailey. And I think she like pushes you back and like lets you fall to the ground and just kind of gets up and takes her tray away. And I'm wondering, like, originally I was going to like jump over to see what Jason was doing, but like this has just happened, Jason. I'm wondering if like, as I imagine, like there was the one there was like Lee ran out and now there was this.
Yeah, and I will say, at least for what you see, so she pushed him to the ground, like led him to the ground, and he's like sobbing, and yeah, he's just like sobbing on the ground, like he's not picking himself up or anything like that.
I think there is that voice in your head still talking. She's wrong though, Bailey. I'm still here in you. She can never get rid of me. Not really. And I'm wondering if Jason does anything here.
Yeah, I think Jason's definitely noticed this whole thing going on between Helen and Bailey. And I think he's going to kind of stand up and walk over behind Helen and just say, "Isn't he a little young for you?"
Oh man, are you shutting her down?
Yeah.
Okay, give me a roll with cold here. You marked the XP for that miss, right, Bailey?
Yes.
Cool.
I've had 2 misses so far. And then I put my my condition on the bottom because I didn't see a place to really put them.
Yeah, that like basically there's that space there. We can keep expanding it down as you need more spaces. Like just below your stats, there's conditions.
And that is a 9.
Cool.
Oh,
So
I didn't see that.
Yeah, so you shut them down, but you come off poorly. What exactly is what are you picking? And then I'll think about how this responds.
Yeah. So yeah, I think like Jason's the angle that Jason's coming at from here is obviously the whole weird situation with her and her brother, and it's like implying that she's the one that's being creepy by pretending to be a high school student, essentially. That's kind of his angle of attack, as it were.
Okay, so it sounds like you're giving her something like the condition creep or something.
Yeah, I was sorry. I was just thinking of what option I'm actually going to choose. But yeah, no, actually, that sounds good. I think that is what I want to do. I want to give her the condition creep. That sounds like a good one.
Yeah, she looks back at you, Jason, and says, "At least I actually care about people, Jason. I'm pretty certain the only reason you're intervening here is because you want to fuck him." And she shoves her way past you. And I'm giving you, and I think everybody hears that, and I'm giving you the condition self-involved.
Fair.
And like Bailey is there on the ground. Does Jason do anything, or was he just, or does Bailey do anything as Jason intervenes here?
I think Bailey's just sobbing on the ground. Like I think he's like screamed and thrashed enough that I think the whole cafeteria has probably seen this. It's probably a scene.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not getting off the ground. I think he just found out what is probably the most devastating news in his entire life. And he's just completely ruined by it in this moment.
And I think that Jason will offer not even offer. I don't think. I think that he will take sort of Bailey's arm and like he won't drag him to his feet if Bailey absolutely won't follow, but he will kind of tug on his arm to get him to stand up, essentially.
Are you tempting Bailey with a string here to like leave with you?
Yeah, that sounds fair. That sounds like a good. I think that is what is happening here. I think that Jason's intent here is to get Bailey to leave with him, and I will offer a string for that.
Yeah, no, I think Bailey is one to follow leads, and if you are, sort of lifting him up, and I think at first it looks like he might like punch you, like he turns and then he sees it's you, and not like Helen trying to do something again, or like some no-name teacher, and he'll get up and his shoulders are just quaking, and he'll let you lead him out.
Yeah, and Jason will kind of lead Bailey away. We'll probably start kind of leading him by the arm, and then sort of put like a conciliatory arm around his shoulder so people can see that he does care about what's going on here and absolutely isn't just self-involved.
Optics.
And cool. I think we'll fade to black on that. And Lee. I'm almost learning it. I can correct myself now. Lee, when we last saw you, you had run out through the doors of the cafeteria. I'm curious, where does Lee run to feel safe?
I think I should not mute myself when I'm talking. Yeah, since we already declared that there is a creepy basement, I imagine that this is a creepy basement with water sometimes dripping, and there might be even, I think there is they go pretty deep, and there is some sort of, it's not a sewage canal, it's more of some sort of freshwater reservoir down there, and that's where Lee goes because they feel very safe. And that reminds the place the keepers lived in the Carnival of Sorrows.
Mm-hmm. And as you come down there, the air is odd. You almost can hear the melodies of the Carnival of Sorrows echoing down here. And before you is a door. A door that wasn't here the last time you were down here. But now is standing there.
Huh. I will rush over and open it.
The door jiggles. You try to grab its handle and it jiggles, but it doesn't open. It feels locked shut.
No. I'm going through the door. Probably the wrong move, but I'm going through the door. I don't care. You can't keep me out.
I think you hear another person say, I'm afraid that's not your door, miss. That's mine. And you see that it is that boy with pink and purple hair that was talking to Jason. Actually, no, I don't think you saw him because you were kind of out of it. But we in the audience know who it is. That was talking to Jason at the end of last session. That door doesn't open no matter how hard you try.
I look at him and I say, I just want to go home. This is where everything's so bad and hard and harsh and yelling, and there's no place for me here.
No, you're right. He kind of kneels down next to you and says in a soft voice, this place isn't for any of us, is it?
No, I just want to go home, please. I don't know.
Sorry, you broke up. I don't know what you said there.
Oh, yeah, I said, I thought that was my door. I go home.
Of course you do. Of course you do. I've been trying that myself for, well, quite some time. And he kind of kneels down and, well, he was already kneeled.
Hmm?
What say if yeah, I think he sorry, let me see here. What say you, I can't guarantee that it'll work. I can't open my own door, but, well, I'm have something of a knack for opening other people's. Do you think you might want my help? It's
Yes.
risky, but
I don't care. Please open my door.
and he holds out his hand for you. I need your hand, please.
I'm giving him my hand, still attached to the wrist.
Yes. And he gives a chuckle if you say that.
No, I don't. That's
okay.
just me as a player. Lee is not in the mood for jokes right now.
He takes it in his, and as he lays his hand down on yours, it feels wrong. You can feel not fingers, but it feels like claws. And you can feel them dig into your palm. And then his hand pulls away. And go ahead and mark 1 harm.
Okay.
And his fingers come up bloody. And he smiles down at you. And there's now a look of something feline, and feral in his eyes. You children and your doors, always so easy.
You lied to me. Did you lie to me? Can you open the door?
That wasn't a lie. I can't open it. But I don't need you in one piece to see if I can open yours.
What do you mean you don't need me in one piece?
And he gets that look in his eyes of a cat who is about to play with his food.
I'm getting to my feet, moving away from him towards that door. You aren't my friend. You're not going to help me, are you? You're the cat. You're just toying with me. Am I right? And I'm so hoping that I'm wrong.
It sounds like you're trying to stare him down. Give me a roll to keep your cool here.
Okay. Yeah. What I'm afraid of is that he is actually the cat and that he will devour me, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, where's the rolling thingy?
Solid
Yes.
concern.
Yeah, right? He's weird. Keeping my cool, I do that with cold. Oh, that's okay. And does my condition cowardly impede me here?
No, other people can tag it.
Okay.
Like there's specific moves that say you can like use your own tags to I think that's a one of the playbooks even lets you do it specifically.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yep.
So I'm just rolling this one.
I don't
It's
have
a
that move,
6.
but that's going to be a Grace move someday.
6, so I failed. I'm freaking out. I'm not keeping my cool. I'm running away. I am turning intangible and walk through that door.
Yeah, I think as you feel, like just as you feel, you can feel him reaching out and trying to grab onto one of your arms, and you can feel the lines of his claws running along it. So go ahead and mark one more harm here for that miss.
Ow, ow, ow.
But I think as you fall backwards through the door, it feels like you're floating in darkness for a moment, like you're in a deep sea. And then you are in someone's arms, and you look up, and it is that ghostly face of your mother. And
Mom?
I think that that's where we fade out on that scene. And I wanted to know, Grace, after everything that went down with Lee in the cafeteria, were you more angry or concerned about them to check in?
So I think at first she was just really angry, and then when she heard the laughing and Lee starting to run, then that got more concerning. And then Bailey was screaming. So like clearly everything was going on, and she was probably trying to like ask people what happened, and people were ignoring her, and she is just generally kind of cranky now. So she is just trying to remind herself, it's not me that's wrong, it's the world that's wrong. It's not me that's wrong, it's the world that's wrong. And that's kind of where she's at mentally at the moment.
And where are you going? Are you still in the cafeteria? Are you sticking around the cafeteria? No, like after cafeteria is done, after the lunch hour is done, where are you headed?
I think she wants to go down to her secret garden, her creepy secret garden, because she thinks that holds the answer to getting home. Though she doesn't know how yet. But certainly people are useless. Just everyone's broken here. Everyone's in the wrong place. The only thing for it is just to get home as quickly as possible and try and do as little damage as possible on the way.
Yeah. As you're going through the basement, you stumble. It's like fucking Luz and her backpack. You trip over something.
Oh, for fuck's sake. So falling over is not particularly a new experience. So she just swears and starts to pick herself back up. possibly her hand goes on whatever it was she tripped over.
Yeah, it's soft. It feels like I guess as it occurs to you, it feels a little bit like maybe an arm.
Whoa. Okay, that will distract her. She's like feeling along and like, it's like, hello? Is this a person? What? Hello?
Go ahead and I feel like this is a good time. Keep your cool here. To keep your cool
Okay.
here. What are you worried is going to
on.
happen? What are you afraid is going to happen here?
So the thing I am worried that's going to happen here is that this is someone who is hurt.
Okay.
And probably her worst creep out would be that if it's a body. I mean, yes, she had to deal with bodies in Oubliette, but this is not like a body kind of place.
Mm-hmm.
So I roll 2d6 with cold.
Yep.
Okay. And she gets a 12. And she also has the move, Dragons Don't Scare Me. So someone else in the scene, if there is someone else in the scene, could possibly get this condition terrified if we think that's appropriate.
I think it's a little bit of a weird move because I think that one's, well, we can sure trigger it here, but I think it's usually on like specifically it says on a 7 to 9 and you like don't back down because you always have the option on the 7 to 9. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you don't think it works on a 12?
No, I think we can have it work here. That's fine. I think as you like, what does it look like? What does it look like as you keep your cool in this moment?
She is probably just feeling around and it's like, okay, arm is good. Probably attached to a torso. Look, a torso. See, even better. She's probably just kind of like monologuing, trying to figure out what's going on. And like, presumably it feels like a person and she's probably going to like try and shake their shoulder and wake them up. Hey,
I think
body on the floor. Who is this?
I think that's when I think that as your hand lands upon something that you are very familiar with, as you have tripped over it many times, with that body is Luz's backpack.
No. This goddamn thing. Lulz, wake up. She will in fact start shaking her more roughly now because she doesn't like Lulz, but she is not actually going to leave her in distress.
And I think that there's no response. And I think, first off, on that 10 plus, the thing that I'm going to think occurs to you is that you were heard loudly talking with Bailey earlier today about how, well, it would be nice if someone got rid of her, right? If she just disappeared?
Oh, crap. So my secret garden probably does in fact have traps on it. I'm not close enough that I think my spike trap got her, does it?
So, yeah, you do actually get to ask one question, and you get to take +1 forward on this information. I'm going to say no, but that's definitely not what's happened here. Okay. I think as you run your hands along her, what you find is that someone's taken her right hand.
Well, she will swallow hard and say, well, this is entirely terrible.
And And I think you have a
And
moment
she-
here because, yeah, like I said, you got that 12. So you have a moment to figure out what to do about this.
Okay. She needs to call someone. Do I think she's dead? Does she have a pulse? Like in
Oh
her
yeah,
neck?
she seems dead.
Oh,
She's
she's
dead.
like super dead. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I know from dead people. Okay. But like Bailey was a hot mess. Bailey couldn't have done this. Bailey didn't have it together enough to do this. Okay. Wasn't Bailey? Then I have no one to protect. Okay, we will call. Who do I call? And then Google just replied for me. She I think she will in fact call Bailey, just because she is running out of people that she actually can call.
Cool.
No,
As,
Bailey's in a bad. So I will. Would you like, Kay? Would you like me to call Bailey, or my other thought is she might call Sunny, her embroidery partner, because she is a pirate and probably okay with dead bodies as well.
Ooh. The choice is totally yours. I will say, out of character, I don't know how helpful Bailey is going to be right now. But you can call him if you want.
Is that Billy Lee?
but yeah, maybe we can switch over to see what Bailey and Jason were doing, and then you can decide if Bailey does get a ring at the end of that scene. Grace.
Yeah, sorry, I had to unplug my Google speaker. It wouldn't shut up. But yeah, that sounds good.
Cool. So I'm wondering, Jason, where do you take Bailey? He seems to be in a right mess.
I think Jason will probably take Bailey back to his room, as in Bailey's room, rather than Jason's room.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, and I want to actually. I feel like we might as well do this now that we're asking this. I'm gonna just throw around here like, Lee. What is something that Bailey that Bailey has in his room? Like we're just gonna go Brindlewood Bay here.
I think he has a cushion that's very comfortable on the knees, so he can kneel on that cushion whenever he feels the urge to kneel.
Oh, cool. And Grace, what else does Bailey have in his room?
Bailey has a smashed mirror.
Ooh.
And Jason, what's the last thing that Bailey has in his room that is noteworthy? Well, not the only thing that's noteworthy, but the three things we'll bring up now.
I think it's less something that Bailey has in his room so much as the bed is like immaculately made in that, bouncing a coin off of it sort of way. And this is absolutely not something that's like enforced by the school.
Cool. Yeah. And so as you come into the room, like what do you do once you brought him back here, Jason?
Yeah, I think kind of Jason will kind of get him into the room and probably encourage him to sit down on the bed, but then just kind of stand there and say, are you going to be all right? Is there anything that I can do
Yeah, and I think Bailey will go wherever you put him. So I think you put him on the bed, and his just tears on his face. His lashes are just darkened with moisture as he like looks up at you since you're standing, and it's just like I I don't know if I'll ever be okay again. She's why I'm here. She she killed him. I'm not home because of her. I I didn't I didn't do anything wrong. That's good, but I don't know if I can go back if he's not there, but
I'm sure you can. I mean, if your previous master obviously wanted to keep you there, I guess so maybe I'm sure another one will.
and then I think he's gonna reach out and like take your hand, and look at Jason and be like, then why did they send me away?
Well, if I were to guess, if that master brought you in, then maybe that bond being broken is what sent you back, but that doesn't mean that you can't make a new one.
And I think he like moves in a little closer and looks up at you and he's like, do you know anyone else who could be that perfect, Jason?
Is this a turn someone on?
I feel like it could be if you are into that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah. So we're gonna +1. A 7.
So yeah, Jason, you get to pick one of the three. I give myself to you, I promise something I think you want, or I get embarrassed and act awkward.
Or you can give a string because it's a 7, so I don't automatically
Yes,
get
or
one.
a string, yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering what's... I think I am going to give you a string on me. That feels like the most appropriate thing here. But I think that, I think that Jason is going to kind of squeeze Bailey's hand and say, we were all chosen once. We'll all be... There's no reason we wouldn't be chosen again, and I'm sure anyone who chose you would be deserving of it.
Would you choose me?
I think Jason is going to give it some thought and say, yes, I would.
I could be really good for you, Jason. And he's pulling you in closer.
Yeah, and I think Jason will. He actually looks a little. There's sort of a moment, I think, where he does look a little uncertain. Not even in the way that he's not certain that this is what he wants, just in that, like, he's not used to being in this position, as it were. But then I think he kind of there's almost that like look of determination comes into his eye, and I think he's going to lean in and kiss Bailey.
Yeah, and Bailey will kiss back. And I guess my next question is, would you like to do sex moves? Do you think it will go that far? Bailey is willing, I will say. He's very swept up in emotions right now, and he just wants to feel useful and feel good.
Yeah, I think it could, but probably I'm imagining more in kind of awkward fumbling than a particularly thought out moment. But yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So how about we have each of you then, as we fade to black, read out your sex moves, and we'll work through that.
Sure thing.
Yeah. Who should go? Who do you want to go first?
How about Bailey? You go first, and then we'll do Jason's.
Yeah. When you have sex, the dark power loses a string on you and gains a string on whoever you had sex with.
Fair. And mine is declare whether your partner is a groupie or an equal. If they are a groupie, they gain a string on you. If they are an equal, you gain a string on them. I mean, I think from context, it's quite obvious that that Bailey is a groupie in this in this situation.
Yeah. So I get a string on Jason.
Yep. And so I think this does maybe answer a little bit our question: who shows up to help Grace?
Sorry, Grace. Too busy.
Because I think we flash back to that as Grace, the door swings open at the top of the stairs, and like a clump down, and it is Sunny, and she says, "Huh? So you finally offed her then, huh, Grace?"
So I think before that, just because I would like to plan something for later angst, we have this fade to black, and as it is fading to black, Bailey's phone does ring, but of course they're too caught up in the moment to answer the phone.
Oh yeah,
and
for sure.
We see Grace leaving sort of a frantic voicemail for him. Pick up! It's a real emergency. Seriously, you need to pick up right now. So he can feel angsty about that later.
I love that.
Cool.
Okay, so then she tries Sunny. She's like, yeah, I feel like if I was the one who did this, I would be more subtle about it and not leave myself right next to the body. But yeah, I was down here. Can you tell what's going on? I can tell there's a missing hand and she seems to be dead, and that's really all I've got.
Yeah. That's a pretty good summary of it. So are we disposing of this?
You know, there's the part of me that wants to on general principle, but I don't actually have anything to hide in this situation.
I mean,
which
you do have some blood on you. Do you want to clean that up?
I don't know. Cleaning up blood just kind of makes you look guiltier, doesn't it?
So without the blood, do you want me to, like, I still say you're about a 6 to 7 on the looking guilty scale, even though I know you didn't do it, Grace. Mm-hmm. Still 6 to 7.
Okay. Well, which teacher dislikes me the least, would you say?
I mean, I think it is actually definitely, even though she was kind of having to be a bit of a hard case, Miss Compton. Like
Mhm.
like somebody reported that you attacked a student and she had to treat that seriously, but like she does generally believe that you did not actually attack her.
Mhm.
But you still might be too angry at her, so
Mhm. I'm pretty cranky about this. Words were exchanged with her. Okay, who dislikes me the next least, would you say?
sure, we'll go with Mr. Montgomery.
Mr. Montgomery? I mean, like, she probably has parents and stuff. It just, disappearing the body just feels wrong. I mean, if you come into the dungeon, you deserve what you get, but I'm not really sure that that's her, what she was doing down here. Can you tell what she was doing down here? Is there any clues or anything?
Um hmm. I think that when Sunny, well, actually, I think do you want to like, this sounds like a good moment to gaze into the abyss. Do you want to
Okay,
gaze into the abyss and then we'll maybe use that to end this session?
sure. Um, okay, so yeah, the thing she is looking for is why was Luz down here? Because I think we declared this to be a fairly out of the way place and probably not her style. And dark, what is my dark stat? Is -1. Well, this will be fun. Okay. 5.
Cool.
So that's me with experience points.
Yeah, you get an experience point. And I think that as you look up, and I do actually specify this, look up, I think that it's odd. It's not that you can see it, but it's almost like we in the audience can see that there is drawn into a wall a chalk outline of a door. But to you, it looks like a it almost looks like a light even within the darkness, not like a comforting light, but like the kind of light of an anglerfish, something tempting and a lure. And I think just as Sunny also lands on that chalk outline of a door and says, "Now, what do you suppose this is?" I think that's when the two of you hear a scream from the top of the stairs. And I think that's where we end things for the session.
Spicy, spicy, spicy.
So yeah, thanks everyone for showing up. I had a lot of fun with everyone. I look forward to next week, where I'm sure everything will go well from here on out.